You're listening to the 23 Personnel Podcast, a Texas Tech athletics podcast where food and sports clash at the goal line. Here are your hosts, Spencer and Michael.
All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 23 Personnel Podcast. I'm your host, Spencer, joined by Michael. Nice.
Bag, baby.
We're back.
You know, I just cracked open.
I couldn't tell it was in a koozie.
It's a lime, bubbly, sparkling water.
Ah, I thought you were.
So yeah, pretty badass.
Oh man, yeah. Hey, speaking of, I don't know how I was going to use that as a segue. We're back.
You get something badass.
Been gone a month now.
Well, tell us why. Has there been a development in your life
Yeah,
that I can share, Spencer?
We had talked about this before we took the break, but My little girl was born February 23rd. So she is approaching 1 month old. Thank you. So we took that little bit of time off when I was in the hospital those first couple of days. And then, just adjusting to not parenthood, because this is obviously not our first child. We have now 3. I told Samantha, we're done with babies, right? Like, we're not doing this again. But yeah, so got another little one running around, 8, 2, and now newborn. Been with that, been home with her for, like I said, a few weeks now. Been great. Getting very little sleep. Well, no, I sleep at just weird times, right? Like 1:30 every afternoon is like, that's my new nap time. Crash out after lunch, which is fine because I took 2 months off of work and it's going to be great. But like somewhere between 3 and 7 every morning, I'm usually awake. Anyways, she's a really chill. It's just great.
Should we record during 3 to 7?
No, because I'm usually I'm keeping an eye on her. Not that she can go anywhere, but she's awake and she doesn't fuss for no reason. She's been a great baby. It's not like you don't have colic or anything. So when she's fussy, it's like something that she needs. She needs a change, or she's hungry, or it's got a burp or something. I don't know. Well, you run through any of the possibilities, right? But I just feel weird, like if she's awake, to not be awake with her. And I let Samantha sleep because she's doing all the heavy lifting, right? The hard work. She's feeding the baby. So I'm. Anyways.
Well, have you asked your daughter yet what she thinks about the Texas Tech coaching candidates?
She's got her eye on Coach Gerlich, so there is no coaching candidacy there. She's all set to be a Lady Raider.
Hey, before we get going, by the way, seriously, congratulations! I'm glad everybody's doing well.
Hey, well, on that note, thanks for you and your wife sending dinner that one night.
Oh yeah.
We got treated to some like Chipotle or Qdoba style shredded beef burritos. They were fantastic. I went back to Michael and said, hey, like, we're not having any more babies, but we might if you guys will make it again. And he's like, how about I get you the recipe? It's like, yeah, I'll take that. I ate on that for several days, man. It was fantastic. And I will admit the beef had, green sauce and green chilies in it. It's fantastic.
There you go.
The cilantro rice, the rice and beans, you could have told me she had a recipe for, and not that it was a box of whatever that
Zatarain's
thing. Yeah. Zatarain's, and then the La Castagna pinto beans.
Yeah, she discovered.
They were both like this is like a bed of rice, some beans, the beef, cheese, like, and then you put like some. We had this avocado, lime, cilantro taco sauce. Put that in there a couple of days. You guys also brought over some Leal's salsa, which was fantastic. No, was it Leal's or
Julio's?
I don't like. Anyways, fantastic. So, thanks.
Well,
I've convinced Samantha we have to make that. We should try to attempt to make that ourselves at some point.
You're very welcome. And like I said, in full disclosure, I can take zero credit for this. This is all my lovely wife's doing. She's a very good cook, and she was half embarrassed about, oh man, well, it's just the beans are just the can, and then I was like, well, send it anyway, because I think they'll probably be happier that's all it is. If you like something that much, then all you got to do is go to the store and get it. Awesome. Mm-hmm. And the Zatarain's, we've been eating on that. She discovered that a couple months ago, and I feel like we've had it 2 or 3 times, and every time that cilantro lime rice is like, man, even the house smells like cilantro. And I know a lot of people have a love-hate deal with it. So fortunately, our households, we celebrate cilantro.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did have some news.
Oh yeah.
That I want to share too.
Mm-hmm.
Do you notice anything different?
I mean, the hat looks great.
Completely putting you on the spot.
Are they new glasses?
Oh, there you go. See?
Okay.
Same thing. You had a baby. I got new glasses. I mean, just big life changes going on here. These are actually a name brand. These are
They Polo? They Ralph Lauren?
no. I don't know if you've heard of it, but they're Columbia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of their outdoor wear.
yeah. They didn't have Magellan, but if they had Magellan, would have been like 25% off of the Columbia.
Academy brand.
Yeah, it's too bad. The what is that? BCG. If they'd have had that. Anyway, that's all.
Good times. Good stuff. I would had I been more prepared, had I thought this through and not just been winging everything the past month, I would have had a graphic up or a picture to show of our little girl. I can probably pull it up on my phone, but I don't know how well it's going to show up on the stream here.
It'll be great.
Let's see. Can we do this?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
She's got a little bow.
There we go.
Oh my goodness.
There's little.
Cheeks.
So her name's Finley Elizabeth. Like I said, 223.
223.
223. Those are the real pictures are on like Snapchat, and we have the photographer over here. I haven't downloaded those yet or anything. I obviously haven't posted anything. Anyways, that's where we've been the past month. Appreciate everybody's patience with us, not just completely dying off. I know we've got a couple of people hanging out with us on the YouTube live stream, which is awesome. Thanks for stopping through. Steven's making sure that you all know that my circadian rhythm looks like it's been jacked, and it certainly has. It's fine though. I've been getting stuff done. Actually, I've got a couple of contractors. I've had a couple of contractors out to the house. I've got concrete forms for some new patio extensions. My shed foundation to be poured probably tomorrow. I had to get them formed up, and then I had the sprinkler company come out and move some sprinklers and adjust everything for the backyard to make everything, harmonious for the new flat work out there, instead of doing it myself and just having weird random sprinkler heads and weird zone. I was like, hey, you guys put this in, come back out here. So 2 guys, 2.5 hours, $200. I was like, shoot, that would have taken me at least that much and parts and runs to Home Depot. And then probably a couple of days to do that myself.
Yeah. Once you factor in
my time,
the over under of my trips to Home Depot, which is usually at 3.5 for a job like that, then it really starts to pay for itself.
Yeah.
Are you ready to do a food draft later? I don't want to get too
I'm
ahead,
still,
but I just
let's
tell some people.
Let's preview the episode. 10 minutes.
Food draft coming.
We're bearing the lead a little bit. We're gonna talk about baseball. Not that we're gonna go over every game, because that's not. I mean, I've watched 90% of the games that have happened up to this point, because I've had the time to do it. And I loved every second of it, because I just can't get enough baseball. I have a little league update, not on the notes. I have a little league update for everybody. That'll go at the end. We've got basketball, women's and men's basketball. We're not going to get into the weeds of either team, since so much shit has gone down. on the men's side. The women's side, they're in the NIT, and they're in the
Super 16.
Yeah. Super 16. That's right. They play again on the 24th against Arkansas. But we've got some head coaching news on the men's side, not like breaking news, but head coaching candidate and some stats, some data to back up why he may be the guy. Football spring practice started today, Tuesday, the 21st. Got some updates there, new names and numbers for a couple of guys. Any questions they may roll through on the stream, and then get to the aforementioned food draft, because this is all, after all, a food podcast. We'll wrap that up with the Michael and I are going to draft the Big 12 tournament foods, and you guys will rate which team is more, I don't know, desirable of the two, like the better, well-rounded meal. What you would prefer to get, I don't know what the basis is, but we're just going to go for it. We're gonna draft the Big 12 tournament foods, and you'll let us know how we did. First, need to remind, but as we have been for quite a while, we are proud members of the Stake in the Plains Content Network. That brings you all kinds of Texas Tech athletics content, from Gambling Gauchos to Seeing Scarlet to Red Raider Dugout, Dinger Derby podcast. All of that hosted on Staking the Plains, RedRaiderDugout.com, and where you find your podcasts. So if you haven't checked out those other shows, be sure you do. I haven't plugged the Discord before, since I don't get compensated for it, but on the last Gambling Gauchos podcast, when they were talking about the Discord, they actually used us as some value add to the Discord. So I feel like we should kind of return the favor a little bit. They said they need some, the subscribers get access to the content creators from the network. And they said, Michael and Spencer from 23 Personnel, and
you can ask us for tips on how to use the Whataburger app correctly. We will answer anytime of the day. Tag us.
The rewards system has changed. I haven't quite figured it out yet, but
I had a thread about it the other day. I'm not very thrilled.
Can certainly tell you how to get all that stuff done. Anyways, we're also brought to you by the Sports Drink Network, episode 337 here of the 23 Personnel podcast. Sports Drink is here to bring you the intersection of sports and not sports, just like we are sports and food. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the World Baseball Classic. I got the phone going on over here. USA down 1 run in the 9th with 2 outs, with, of course, Mike Trout coming to the plate versus Shohei Ohtani on the mound.
Oh, that's some drama.
Captain America versus Shohei. 2 outs in 9th. Anyways, back to Sports Drink. Check them out and go online at sportsdrink.org, or on social, on Instagram, Sports Drink on Instagram, spelled like Sports Drink but without the vowels. All that we ask is that you close the door behind you. Try not to let the funk out. Michael.
Yes.
Let's start baseball.
Okay.
We'll
start talking sports now. It's only 18 minutes in.
Let's do it.
Left field, well struck. Desloney picks it up on a bounce. He's racing for second. Throw! Out in second!
Young lifts it to right field, looking for a second home run, and he's got it into his own bullpen.
Reps and some time, because all the tools are there.
Wow, this one launched deep left off the bat of Warren and into the bleachers. There he goes, and the pitch is driven, hangs into right. Kjerstad to the wall, off the top of the fence. Here comes the big fella. Cameron Warren's going to motor home from first. Throw to third is late, and the Red Raiders have reclaimed the lead. Popped up. Trevor Boone back. It's more than a pop-up. It's a big fly. Tuck takes the lead. Levick and Leavitt. Texas Tech can start packing for Omaha.
All right. Texas Tech baseball they're hot right now, Michael. 18-4 on the season, 2-1 in Big 12 play. Like I said, we'll not go game by game. But since we last left you at 4-0, the Red Raiders have gone 14-4, defeating teams like Western Illinois, Air Force. They lost a game to Rice, beat Michigan, lost to A&M in 16. That was a game. beat New Mexico, took 2 of 3 from Iowa, including going after their all-world starter and knocked him out of the game. Took the series, swept the series with UT Arlington, and then took the series this past weekend, 2 of 3 against Oklahoma State. If you want game-by-game analysis, like I said, go check out Dinger Derby. They do weekend recaps and get you all that kind of stuff. We're going to give you high-level stuff as Trout just struck out. Jerk. I would never strike out against Shohei Ohtani. Make me captain of Team USA.
I would never make the USA look bad.
Not me, man. Not me.
No, these colors don't run, baby.
So Japan wins the World Baseball Classic. Not that big of a surprise. They were the other favorite to win this thing. Texas Tech baseball. Let's start with offensive leaders, Michael. Like I said, last time we were with you guys, we were at 4 games in. We were like, man, Gavin Cash has had a ridiculous start to the season. Guess what? Gavin Cash has had a ridiculous start to the season. His slash line is batting .440, on base .500, slugging .791. That's an OPS of .1291, which is stupid good. 7 doubles, 2 triples, 7 home runs. He leads the conference in hits and home runs, 34 RBI. The other guy that I would have told you Cash is my favorite player and probably the best player on the team. Putting this together, I was like, I didn't expect this. Austin Green, batting .418. That is the only number. Well, sorry. .418, on base of .536, slugging .806, which is a great rep for the Red Raiders. OPS of .1342. 4 doubles, 2 triples, 6 home runs. There's 1 home run behind Cash. He actually leads Cash in RBIs with 35. And he's done this in 67 at-bats, where Cash has done his in 91. So
that's a very efficient. Now, you know I'm the biggest baseball fan on the planet. Most of these guys you're going to talk about, they're freshmen, right? Or they're at least, underclassmen?
Green is the second oldest on this list. Cash is a sophomore.
Okay.
Under him, I've got Gage Harrelson, Kevin Bazell, Tracer Lopez. Those are all freshmen. Although Bazell has been here for about a year, I think he still qualifies as a freshman. And then Nolan Hester is the last guy, and he's a 5th-year guy. But yeah, these are all underclassmen, which is the reverse of what we're going to talk about with football. There was I saw a projected depth chart today as spring practice started that the 2 deep was chocked full, Michael, of seniors and juniors. Like, we're going to be old this year in a good way. Like these guys had like a bunch of experience too. It's not like, hey, they've been here 5 years, now they get to play. It's like, no, they've been here 5 years and they played 5 years.
And they're not all transfers or something.
No, only some of them are. But back to baseball.
Sorry.
Austin Green, holy crap. Like he's come out of nowhere. I say that he didn't enter the season with as much flash and hype that we heard from Cash, right? Like we knew all that stuff was there for Cash, and he announced it immediately. Green's been building to this, and he had a hell of a weekend against the Cowboys. Obviously, with the accentuated exclamation mark on Sunday where he hit the grand slam to put the Red Raiders ahead 6-1. They're in the 5th, leading. He didn't lead off. He led the scoring in the 5th inning where Red Raiders put up 10 runs in that inning to ice that game and send the Cowboys home just a couple hours early as we ruled them on Sunday. But other guys offensively leading this team, Gage Harrelson and Kevin Bazell are both hitting .341. These are both first-year players for Texas Tech. Bazell, like I said, was here last year but had to sit. Gage Harrelson's a true freshman. Tracer Lopez is a true freshman, graduated early. He's a guy that everybody likes to remind you like he would, be going to prom here pretty soon, but he's a starting shortstop for a D1 Big 12 baseball team. Oh, and not only that, he's batting over 300. And then Nolan Hester, the 5th-year guy that transferred in from Wofford, he's your leadoff guy, 314, but his on base is 520. He's second on the team and on base, which is exactly what you want from your leadoff guys to get somebody on. Your pitching it's been great, but it's been not what you expected from the beginning. Like other guys have stepped up and stepped in from what we thought to start the season. You've got Mason Molina and Brendan Gurton as your bona fide 1-2 as your starters. Molina is 2-1 so far in the season, 2.81 ERA, 1.17 WHIP, which is your walks and hits per innings pitched. So the lower that is, the fewer guys are getting on base. He's done that over 25 and 2/3 innings with 37 strikeouts to 11 walks and holding opponents to batting only 200. Brendan Gurton, 2-0 on this season, 4.50 ERA. It's a little bit higher than you would want, 1.59 WHIP. And this is over 22 innings pitched. His walk to strikeout ratio is a little more even, 19-17 strikeouts to walks. And then opponent batting average at 222. Bo Blessey was one of the weekend starters that we had expected coming in to start the season. He's been limited due to injury or soreness. Expected to be able to pitch, but in a more limited role. Depending on how he's able to not recover, but how much he's like to withstand. So far in the season, he's 1-0 with a 0 ERA, 1.26 WHIP, holding opponents batting average to 105. Other starters you've seen with some success this season: Kyle Robinson, Tabor Fast, Zach Erdman, and Zane Petty. When Blessey is able to come back, what we've seen from Robinson, he was your Friday starter, opening day starter to start the season. He's pitched in 4 games. He started 3 of them. His starts have not been that great, and his other appearance was in Houston versus A&M, where he went 6 innings and gave up no hits. Granted, it's been 1 game, but you look at that, you're like, hey, if he needs to come off, out of the bullpen, like maybe you get Blessey in there and let him roll through the lineup one time, and then hand it over to Robinson, because in his 1 appearance out of the pen, man, he came in and just shut it down. That's not to say that Robinson can't come in and find his way as a starter too. You're going to need some starting pitching, past Molina and Gurton. That's only the 2 you need. Obviously 3 for a weekend series. You will have more than 3 games in a week. Not this week. You got the midweek off, but you've had guys like Kyle Robinson and Tabor Fast been able to do that for you. Your relievers have also looked really good, especially Brandon Beckel. He's 3-0 on the season with a 0.64 ERA, 1.07 WHIP, 14 innings pitched, 19 strikeouts to 6 walks. Opponents are batting 164 against him. The only downside here, asterisk, is he's possibly, hasn't been confirmed yet, possibly facing a 4-game suspension after an ejection this past weekend that was kind of under the radar. Like, it wasn't really announced or shown what had happened because it happened at the end of an inning. But this was in the Sunday game versus Oklahoma State. Apparently there had been some warnings given out by the umpiring crew to kind of try to keep the game in check, reduce some of the chippiness. But at the end of one of the innings that Beckel was pitching, he got a strikeout. He made some kind of motion and probably said something to the batter. And then Josh Holliday, being a little bitch that he is, ran out, complained to the umpires, and they went and ejected Beckel from the dugout after Holliday had said his piece. You could tell that Tadlock was pretty frustrated about that in the post game, because he was asked about it a couple of times and he declined to say anything about it besides, this is a game that's meant to be played with some emotion. And unfortunately there had been a warning earlier, so there was a little bit of, precedent set that they weren't going to let that stand. The biggest issue, I guess, with that is if that 4-game suspension stands, there are no midweek games, right? So you don't get to have time served, essentially with 2 games, whatever, and have him back available this weekend versus Texas. He'll miss all of Texas. the Texas series this weekend. We have one midweek next week against New Mexico, so he wouldn't be available till next weekend against TCU. If that isn't, in fact, he has to face the full 4 games, which would be unfortunate. Other relievers that have done well so far: Andrew Devine, 1-1 on the season, 1.8 ERA, 1.3 WHIP, 12 Ks, 4 walks. He's been used fairly sparingly. He hasn't gone out there and thrown a bunch. Parrish, though, has been thrown a bunch. He's thrown a lot of innings. He's 1-0 in the season. His ERA is a little bit higher. He tends to be a little more fiery and called on in some hairy situations. His ERA is 4.42, which isn't terrible, but a little higher than you would want. 175 WHIP, 11 Ks to 12 walks. Ryan Free, especially lately, has really come on. He's 2-1 this season, 2.84 ERA, 0.87 WHIP, which you'd love to see that under 1. 17 strikeouts to only 4 walks. It's better than 4-to-1 ratio there. Josh Sanders, the other guy I wanted to mention, 3.97 ERA on the year, 1.41 WHIP. Not to say that there haven't been other guys that have contributed out of the bullpen. You saw a great performance from Ethan Coombs this weekend. And then, whether or not Robinson is out of the bullpen or Blessy when his arm is able to go again. So like I said, it's a little bit different than how we drew it up or we expected to start the season. Molina and Gurton were obviously really good. Gurton was, I think, initially slated to come out of the pen, but has solidified himself as a starter over the weekend. Upcoming, you got the weekend series on the road in Austin this weekend. Texas has not had the greatest start. They've lost to some bad teams. They've lost to some good teams, namely, LSU. But that was just once. They only had one game against LSU. They are 14-7 so far in the season. They have not started conference play yet. They have won their last 10 though, and they are 13-2 at home. They started the season 0-3. They lost to number 8 Arkansas, lost to Missouri, then lost to number 10 Vanderbilt. They beat A&M Corpus Christi, Indiana twice, then lost to Indiana. They lost to LSU in a pretty good game on the 28th there in February. Lost a game to Cal State. Sorry, they lost a series to Cal State Fullerton. They won once against Sam Houston, won against Mercer. They took all 3 from Manhattan. They defeated North Dakota State, New Orleans twice. 3 times. So the teams they've defeated haven't been all that great. So, I mean, even with that 10-game streak and 13-2 at home, the games they've been able to win haven't been all that impressive. They do have a midweek before you. They will face Incarnate Word tonight. Actually, they're playing them right now. And let's take a look at that real quick. Would assume the Longhorns are up big. Oh yeah, 17-9 in the 9th. So they're going to win that one, which is not surprisingly. So they will be 15-7, winners of 11 straight before you take them on this weekend. Friday 7. Unfortunately, all 3 of these games are going to be on the Longhorn Network. Friday at 7, Saturday and Sunday both at 2:30. So your conference schedule is so heavily front-loaded. You will play the top half of the conference in the first 4 series, right? If you can get through this stretch here between Oklahoma State, Texas, TCU, and then Oklahoma, and not be underwater, like you got to be at least 500, if not just a little bit better. You really set yourself up well to be competitive there to end the season, because you get Baylor, who's been absolutely hammered dog shit this year. Kansas State, West Virginia could be a problem because you're going to be on the road, but they've been really good so far, especially at manufacturing runs. They are just feisty. They lead obviously the conference and stolen base attempts and success rate there. You need that Kansas to finish up your Big 12 schedule. So if you can get through the first half, that'd be really good. So you've got, like I said, Texas this weekend, New Mexico next week. In the midweek, you got 1 game there in Albuquerque, and then you're back home for 3 against TCU the following weekend. you would have a pretty good understanding and idea about where your team is at. If you didn't already through 22 games. I think the offense has been a little bit of a surprise in a good way that like you've been so good offensively. Pitching has been, you've got some really great spots there. You want to be a little more consistent and kind of solidify everything there. But otherwise, like when this team is gone, when it's going, man, it can really go. So super exciting time for baseball. Michael, have you, like, after all that, have you had a chance to watch any of the games? You got any takes on what you've seen so far?
I have watched and a few of them, honestly, not just a ton. I did happen to tune in on that 10-run inning on Sunday, but I completely missed Beckel getting tossed. I just completely missed all that. And so I came in late and I had no idea that had happened. So I was listening. I knew that it had later because once you start watching the game, you start getting on Twitter and people start talking. And so I didn't really know the full story behind it till just now when you told me. But I mean, like you said, it seems like there was some precedence there to try to establish a boundary, and he may have crossed it. But yeah, it's not a good look for the head coach to come tattling out of the dugout.
Oh yeah.
But I think the thing that I kind of alluded to early on is I really like the age of this team paired with the success they've had. It's fun to root for a young team, whatever the sport is, and you accept that there's going to be some issues here and there. I was listening to Dinger Derby recently, and they talked about the errors. This team has a lot of errors, so that's kind of par for the course, I guess. I mean, I would expect, it's kind of like a young basketball team having a lot of turnovers. You just kind of expect there to be some lapses there that as they get older and as they get some more playing time, that'll kind of take care of itself. But it's surprised me. They have surprised me. After a disappointing a disappointing weekend in one of the big Texas cities against a bunch of teams from other Power 5 conferences, which is kind of how Tech has started baseball season for the last several years. It seems like you go to those things and you win like 1 out of 3, or you go over and you're like, oh boy. And then you know that you're playing Maine, whoever else next for a while. But this schedule was, I mean, having Iowa on the schedule, and that was a 4-game series too, wasn't it? Or did I make that? No, Gonzaga was 4.
Yeah.
But
I was 3, but it was a return trip from playing them last year, and they were ranked. You got them pretty good the first 2 games combined, 25-8, and then lost the 1-run game.
So I've been impressed with what they've done after the Shriners Classic. That 16-inning game against A&M was incredible, but just unfortunately couldn't quite finish. That would have been really good to beat the Ags, but it's not always going to work out that way. But yeah, I have been most impressed with just how well they've done and how many young guys Tadlock's playing, and then even losing Blessy so early and still the pitching being able to hold their own this whole time. That's the kind of a refreshing change as of what you saw last year with just so many injuries before the season even started.
Yeah, and you mentioned injuries, and I would be frustrated with myself. We didn't talk about Dylan Carter going down.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He went down the Sunday game. Was it Sunday versus Iowa, or is it Wednesday versus Art? Like it was late in the game. I can't remember when it was now. Anyways, it was recently. He went down on a deep fly ball, collided with the wall, ended up breaking his wrist, thumb, something in his hand, on his glove hand. That will keep him out anywhere between 4 and 8 weeks, depending on who you ask and what kind of timeline that person's giving you. Because Dylan Carter is certainly one that wants to be back sooner rather than later. So I would expect he'd be able to, return by beginning of May, at least, but before you get to the end, the conference tournament there, which starts on the 24th, which that's 2 months from this week actually. So, he's been out already about a week or so now. Other than that, man, it's just like, you've had some great success offensively with the bat. It hasn't all been home runs. You've got guys that are hitting for contact, that are finding gaps. You've had really great timely hitting at times, and there's some obviously pieces and opportunities to get better. I think the DH position is one that you look at and you would expect more of. Whether it's been Coleman or Brome, Woodcocks. I think Woodcocks probably has a great shot to take that over more full time from what he's been able to do, but just in a limited capacity. Maybe it will be Coleman. He hasn't been the consistent presence there. He's been out returning from injury or recovering or whatever it's been, so he hasn't been full health. And I wouldn't want to hold his performance against him and say, this is the best you're getting from Ty Coleman. It needs to be better. You need to replace him. But you've got guys on the bench that can certainly hit the ball, and that can run the bases. So if Coleman needs more time to be the a regular contributor at the DH spot, I think you've got some options there. But outside of that, man, the errors you mentioned, they've seem to be trending in the right direction after the way the season started. I think you're still like, I haven't checked the stats on this in a little while. You were like second or third worst in the country in terms of errors committed. And that will unfortunately come back to bite you. Like you won't be able to survive a lot of good teams if you're committing that many errors. You did this weekend versus Oklahoma State. They came into the series having committed 9 errors total on the season. And Keith did confirm you've committed 9 errors in a series before this year, not just the season. But you forced 4 errors on them on Friday and then 2 more on Sunday. So they came in with 9, left with 15. So you added another 2/3 of what they already had on their season, just in 2 games. I think one of the things I've said previously about this team is they've had really good bats, but they tended to struggle against the really good pitching, which good pitching team tends to outperform good bats, especially early in the season. You've ran into some ace material, best arm type guys that you've seen from across some of these teams, and you've not flinched. The guy that you faced on Sunday against Oklahoma State, he was supposed to go Friday, ended up getting delayed a couple of days because of how long he went in his previous outing. He wasn't quite ready to come back and pitch yet. You loaded the bases on him in the first inning. You made him throw 100 pitches in 4 2/3 innings, to the tune of 6 runs, at least 6 runs. I don't remember exactly when he came out. A guy that obviously, if you listen to the Dinger Derby podcast, you get the full details on this, but a guy that you were in on and you were down to between you and Oklahoma State to land this guy. Like they're one of their best arms. Like you got to him and you got to him pretty good. Brecht from Iowa came in here, was the receiver from their football team that could also throw 100 miles per hour. You didn't flinch when you faced him. You got to him pretty good. So you've been able to go toe to toe with some of these premier pitchers, and your offense hasn't vanished. Now there have been teams where you face a good pitcher like Rice. You only scored 2 runs there, and you faced their best guy. And then the Sunday game versus A&M, you put up 2 runs again. Your offense wasn't in a great spot at that point in the season, but you were averaging. I think you're up to around 10 runs a game right now, which is just unbelievable. So I'm excited about the baseball team and the direction it's going. I'm not overly concerned about the series this weekend. I would love to get at least a series win in Austin, especially if you're going to be trying to compete for a conference title this year. This is one of those things that you have to have. You have to have series wins You can't just win at home. You have to win some on the road too. But again, it's still early enough in the season. I think you're about halfway through your schedule at 22 games. So in a great spot. Your rankings have been updated and they continue to trend up. I think most of the outlets here that track these things have you in the teens right now, which has been, like I said, on the positive upswing. You did take a little bit of a dip after losing to A&M. You got some respect after beating Iowa. Your RPI definitely skyrocketed facing Iowa. I think they were a top 20 RPI team, and you went from like 200 up into the 50s that weekend. So you're heading the right direction. You've got some arms identified as guys that you can rely on. You've got some guys that you know that there's potential there. You need some more from. Young guys are stepping up big. Damian Bravo, I think we have to mention him. He's pitched and played in the field. He's been another outfielder, corner outfielder for you to help kind of cover some space as you're moving guys around to help cover for Dylan Carter's absence. But so far, he's got 4 hits at the collegiate level. 3 of them, Michael, have been home runs. So he's not shy about breaking that bat out when he can. But also he's been on the mound. He's been on the field. He's doing it all for you. So super exciting times for the baseball team. I want to shift gears a little bit though, Michael. I want to talk about basketball, both men's and women's. Ready to do that?
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Spins. And it is stuck back by the freshman sensation Smith.
Pass over the top. McCormick in the crowd stripped by Owens. Moretti on the run. Bounce pass. Here's Culver.
Yes! Game over. Mooney with a crossover and a lob to Owens.
Now the shot clock is at 3. Mooney spins, fires. Oh, he got it to go. Edwards with a 3. Good! What a shot, Kyler Edwards. Moretti doubled into Tariq. Owens who puts it down. Moretti. Odiasi crowbars it in. Shot clock down to 5. Got the screen. Here's a 3. Good!
Culver got the separation.
Oh, big shot. Stepping up big time. Dagger.
Culver with the dish.
Odiase! And one. He can tie it at the line.
That's it. There's a new member of the Final Four Club, and they hail from Lubbock, Texas.
Speaking of tournament, let's start with the women's team, Michael. They are 2-0 in the NIT so far this season. They have taken down UTEP 67-54 in the first round, and then they hosted that game, and then they hosted SMU on the 20th. So that was yesterday, and took them down 61-49 to set up their next round matchup in the Super 16 versus Arkansas in Fayetteville. So they've been
That'll be Friday during the baseball game. So my suggestion is don't turn on the Longhorn Network. And if you're like me, you don't have it anyway. So you just listen to the baseball game, but you queue up ESPN Plus, 7 p.m. See the Lady Raiders take on Arkansas. Bailey Maupin is a dog, man.
Oh yeah,
Incredible. She has averaged 19 points these 2 games off the bench. She had 17 points in the first game, shot 50% from 3. Only 4 of those points were from free throws. And then last night, 21 points, but didn't even make a 3. Was 0 for 5 from 3. So they were, a lot of field goals, 7 of 16. 7 of 8 from the line, just really clutch from the line. The Lady Raiders jumped off to a pretty big lead, but then SMU closed the gap on something like a 17-4 run. And I think they even took the lead at one point. But then they were able to finish them off there in the fourth quarter. But I'm pretty excited to watch this team keep going and see what Maupin can do. I mean, Brie Amber Scott's awesome too. she had 11 on against SMU. She had 13 against UTEP. You know, just a fun team to watch, a fun team to root for. And Gerlich is letting a lot of the younger, more of the younger players play than I kind of thought she would in games like this. Like Freelon's getting quite a bit of time in these games. So, I mean, I'm excited about her because she seems like she's got a really bright future here. But yeah, Maupin, man, just pretty good player coming off the bench.
Yeah, you had 12 players. Yeah, you had 12 players check in and play last night against SMU. So that's saying something about Gerlich playing the entire roster. You had three.
I think she knows how important it is for
sure.
these players just to get any sort of postseason experience, even if it's at home, whatever. It's at home against probably a slightly more intense crowd, and probably against UTEP and SMU in a tournament. Probably quite a few that traveled. Quite a few Miners and Mustangs fans were probably there. A lot more than when they play Kansas at home or something in a Big 12 game. But it's just a unique atmosphere, even though it's at home. But yeah, for the first time in 10 years to have a postseason chance, it sounds like they're really taking advantage of it. And we'll see how they do Friday night, and see how the baseball game goes too.
Yeah,
but just
they shot
kind of a second thought for me.
Yeah, they shot almost 42% from the field, including 10.5% from three. They were not relying on the three, because they just weren't getting it. But they were still pretty efficient elsewhere on the floor. And I think this is a great opportunity for this team to get some tournament experience. I know a lot of people are, would say that that's not the NIT is not where you want to be, but for a program that's climbing back from where it used to be, NIT is just fine. And then to go out and do this and to be winning, I wouldn't say like handsomely. I mean, they won their first game by 13 and won last night by 12. But you're not scraping by these like 1 or 2 point wins. You're looking good doing it. So it's all the better. If Texas Tech is to advance past Arkansas, they will meet the winner of Nebraska-Kansas, and they play on Thursday. So you'll see your next opponent if you are able to get past Arkansas. You'll know who that is before you play Arkansas.
We've got to stay focused on the Razorbacks, Spencer. I mean, as the 23 Personnel podcast, we are fully focused on the Razorbacks. I just want everybody to know.
I was just trying to let everybody know who they want to, what the future would hold. Speaking of what the future may hold, Michael, I'm sure everybody knows it wasn't a surprise, and it happened. The season wasn't even over when we stopped recording a month ago. But
I thought you were going to go into that hymn about, but I know who holds the future. I thought you were immediately going to go into something biblical there.
I don't even recognize that one.
Oh, okay.
We've got a different hymnal apparently.
Yeah, that happens.
No, it's fine. I'm sure a lot of congregations have their own hymns, but Mark Adams has been dismissed. It's just not unsurprising. And without going too deep into everything, I would just say that the rumors and accusations that came out under the end of the season, to me, this is a Spencer opinion, was more of a straw that broke the camel's back type situation, or something that was more something more tangible that you can point to, instead of just like, well, there were things that may have come up in the off season or during the season that were of a private nature, but we didn't really approve of and didn't know how to address it. And there were concerns. No, there was like, I think in combination with everything that happened at the end of the season, what happened during the season, and then early on, late summer, early beginning of the season, I think all gets wrapped up into one. So I don't think it's a one thing, one shot of whatever happened with the allegations of player mistreatment there at the end. But I don't, not surprised by the outcome. Unfortunately, the selfish nature of me is saying that, like, it happened at like there's such a terrible time, because if you're moving on from a coach, you wanna go after somebody with some success, and unfortunately, with like the programs and teams you're going after, the coaches you'd be going after, they're still playing, right? You're not taking a coach that's not in the tournament right now, so you're still sitting around waiting to make this hire. It may be more of a formality at this point. I think there has been a front runner identified in Grant McCasland, the head coach at North Texas. They did end up winning tonight in their NIT game versus Oklahoma State. But had they lost, I think it would have, you'd been able to hear movement on this a lot faster. If it is indeed, down to McCasland. Outside of that, you haven't really heard, like, with any kind of believability, the other coaches who were rumored to be connected with this opening. Like there was that play by Rick Pitino's agent to get some movement on his job that connected him to Texas Tech. I don't think that was ever going to be a thing. Somebody said that, you had to make an offer to Coach K to make him say no. It's like, that wasn't going to ever be a thing. And then there are just a list of names that we've all kind of thrown around as fans or as message boards or whatever, but you haven't heard anything. You have a hiring committee or a search committee, excuse me. What? Do you want to talk about the merits of having a search committee, Michael, and the makeup of this one specifically, or just leave it at we have a committee, a search firm?
Well, I like the committee. I particularly like that Odiase's on it, and not to get too into what ultimately was the straw that broke the camel's back, as you mentioned earlier, that led to Adams' quote unquote retirement. I think it's very important to have a former player and be a man of color on your committee, evaluating these guys and having opinions and having different thoughts about who's going to lead this next group of young men that are going to be Red Raiders. So the members are Odiase, Womble, Joey McGuire, and I know I'm forgetting. Is Kirby part of the committee, or is he just?
I think so.
I thought there was a fourth guy. But McGuire that's an interesting one. The Gauchos mentioned this too, and I agree. Like, I kind of just feel like he's busy right now.
Well, with the start of spring practice, yeah, for sure.
He's been here 1 year. He's done great things in 1 year, but anyway, that was just kind of interesting. Womble makes sense because he's the one footing a lot of the bills. Might as well put him in there, and I do think that he knows ball probably a lot more than the rest of the donors.
And it's not that you want to have the donors run the program, but you want to be able to see this person be able to interact in at least a symbiotic type of relationship, or at least be able to hold that kind of relationship with that group, right? That you're not freezing them out. You're not, setting them on edge, or that you don't know how to conduct yourself around people that have a lot of pull and say in a program like this. But no, I don't know. Like, there's not, like, the makeup of the committee doesn't scream like, oh, we're like, I have a full confidence that we're gonna get the right guy. Because it comes down to a bunch of guys that are interviewing for like a cultural fit and not for skill. which I guess you can kind of base skill on how they're doing at their current position, right? Right, because like you've got like Odiase and McGuire there, who are, I would say, like more focused on characteristics of how they're going to interact with the players, and not so much like how they're going to be like actually conducting themselves in a coaching capacity. And I want to like just I don't know how to verbalize how that's different from like coaching them and being able to interact with them in a positive nature, right? Like those are two different things, at least in my mind. And that you'd be a cultural fit, that you understand Texas Tech. I think that's a big piece of like why you're not going to get some of the big name guys that you may get a splash higher from. Like, well, they just don't fit here, right? They're not a West Texas guy. They don't understand it. But also, like, I saw a cynical comment on a message board today, and I was like, I couldn't help but laugh and just kind of like, well, yeah. They said like how ironic it was, or just how rich it was that you finally go with a search committee or search firm for the past 2 coaching hires, and they've identified the guy that everybody already knew or everybody already suspected in the first place, right? Like when the job was open after Beard left, everybody was like, well, it's got to be Adams, right? And then the search firm came back and like, you've already got him on staff. You just need to elevate him. And then you've got this group coming around with this opening, and McCaslin was on the list last time, right? Like his name was floated around when Beard left a couple of years ago. So again, it's not like they've come out and said, hey, we've actually found this diamond here, like Tobin Anderson from Farley Dickinson or whatever. Like, this is the next big up and comer. It's like they just, both times you've gone this outside route, it's like they've basically confirmed what everybody else was kind of already thinking, which I guess there is some value there, right? Like, not like we're all just drumming up like we want Billy Clyde Gillespie and like, whoa, hold on, red flags. But anyways, I want to talk about McCaslin for a second on the skills part of it, and not that I'm not a basketball coach. I don't know X's and O's, but I want to just kind of highlight what he's been able to do at a program like UNT, University of North Texas. There, the Mean Green, and what that may look like for Texas Tech, at least how he's been able to elevate that program with that kind of frame of reference of like, you're dealing with North Texas money and recruiting base and resources, right? Like, you can probably project these to be a little bit more profound at Texas Tech. But prior to McCaslin coming to North Texas, the Mean Green basketball team, in terms of KenPom, were rated as the number 320th team in the country, which is if you remember, that's not, you can't go much lower than that, and that's including teams you never even heard of. Adjusted offense was 316, adjusted defense 294. Year one under McCaslin went from 320th to 146. Offense went from 316 to 142. Defense 294 to 142. And every year since then, 2019, there was a slight step back. They went from 146 to 158. Offense dipped quite a bit. It went from 142 to 265. Defense did continue to improve, 142 to 82. But overall, like I said, step back. Then since then, it's been trending in the right direction for 4 consecutive years. He went from 158 to 77 to 72 to 57, and then this year they're 37th in KenPom currently. There have been some concerns about his offense, that they say it's a terrible offense and that it's low scoring. The deal with that, I think, it has a lot to do with the pace rather than the efficiency. The offense that they've been able to do, that they've been able to put on the court, has been highly efficient. It's just been more methodical. I think back to early Beard or Tubby Smith days, where like you're taking a full possession, right, to get into your sets and your points. early on in teams that are a little more overmatched. This certainly helps even out the court here and give you chances in games that maybe you wouldn't otherwise have chances in. But he's definitely a defensive minded coach, right? Their adjusted defense ranking this year was 26th. But their offense finished, or at least currently right now, is 76th. And there were times this year where the Texas Tech offense was a lot worse than 76th. It did finish better than that, I believe, but it's not like, I think a lot of people are saying Grant McCasland, he's going to come out here. If he does, he's going to run this terribly boring offense, and it's going to be bad. But the defense will be good. Well, there'll be an efficient there'll be an efficient offense. And according to advanced metrics, it'll be adjusted, whatever, like 76 out of 350 is not that bad. You're looking at top quartile. So, will it be high flying, high scoring? Not, I wouldn't expect that to be, without knowing what the rest of the makeup of the staff would look like. If it is, like I said, certainly McCasland, there's been some speculation there with some looking into Al Pinkin's contract. He did accept the role as an assistant with Chris Beard at Ole Miss. That was another thing that happened this past month. Chris Beard got a job. Man, Ole Miss has really just made a name for themselves. They're really just not giving a crap about their public image. But there was some language in Pinkin's contract with Ole Miss that he would be able to be retained at Texas Tech, and Tech wouldn't have to pay any kind of buyout there if McCasland would want to retain him on staff. There have been some rumors and some positive movement to a reunion of Barrett Peary in Texas Tech. If he were to be offered a job under McCasland, I think that could be that could show some promise there to continue to improve on that offensive number. Again, if that's something that McCasland wants, I think you want to definitely allow him to craft the staff around what he wants, and not just you hire him and then you hand him a staff. That's not going to work. So there have been some positive things there in terms of like possibilities of staff, that guys that have connections to Texas Tech that you feel pretty comfortable with, that you would want to be here to go along with it. But McCasland has been a winner everywhere he's been. He's been successful, and he's been trending up, right? This is, may not be the new name. Like, you didn't like uncover this hidden gem. But he's certainly trending in the right direction, and he's taken a team like North Texas up to 37th best team in the country, with a top 25 defense and a top 75 offense. And they're playing, in postseason play. They took down a Big 12 opponent tonight, with, like I said, their players and resources and availability, whatever they have at North Texas. I would think you could be able to do and build on that at Texas Tech.
I didn't realize this, but Texas Tech lost to Oklahoma State by the same score both times last year, or this past season. And so he's already beaten them. I want to walk back like 10 minutes slightly.
Okay.
I do think Odiase is going to be very interested in the culture and the fit of the coaching candidates, but he is going to be an X's and O's guy too. I mean, he played for 4 years. I do think he's going to be very interested in that aspect of it. He played for 2 different coaches, different styles. You brought up, Beard's kind of first couple forays was a little bit rough on the offense, but things started to pick up, especially when you get guys like Mooney in and Owens and stuff. So I think he's going to be a contributor there on that. And then to kind of go back on what you said about McCasland, did you realize that I think if this hire goes through, yes, all these KenPom rankings are great, but his tempo, did you see the adjusted tempo, which is the number of possessions per 40 minutes? He is dead last in the nation. 59.1, 363rd out of 363. So I think a lot of what folks are saying about the offense is validated by that. I guess they just really are going to rely really closely on their defense. So if he's the guy, prepare yourself for knuckle biting possessions that use the entire shot clock every time and hopefully come up with a good shot.
Yeah, so Ken Palm has updated after the result tonight. They're actually up to 33rd in the country, up from 37. Adjusted offense 73rd, defense 25th. Their score, not their ranking. They're 25th. Their tempo, yeah, you said dead last, 59.1 possessions per 40 minutes. Their luck, they're about even. Not like they got there by being a super lucky team this year. Strength of schedule, they were, 100. What's that? 13th, top third. Anyway, so I don't think you can just disregard him and be like, hey, I don't like this, because it's not a Sean Miller or a Shaka Smart or a Jay Wright or Calipari.
Is
Bill
Denton West
Self.
Texas?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's all west.
Okay. Well, there we go.
I mean, it's west of 35, so
Yeah, it is.
35E.
It's west. Is it west of? Yeah, I was about to say, is it west of both of them? It's not west of 35.
No, because I think 5 combines up there at Denton again, right?
I think
Because it's split to go around. No,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's West Texas. So I would expect, without any other confirmation or rumors or leaks, whatever, McCaslin's probably the guy. Be just anxious to get this thing going again. See if you can get a staff together and get to recruiting. See what this roster is going to look like. See if you can get a Tyler Perry to come with him from North Texas, his all-star guard, who's been just absolutely phenomenal for him for the Mean Green this year. Because you want some guy that, you can certainly teach the system to players, but if you've got a guy that's run it, like he can be your floor general too, you certainly would. We mentioned McGuire. Let's to football and then wrap this up with that the Big 12 tournament food draft, man.
Oh yeah. I'm excited.
All right, let's do it.
Chuck keeps it. Made 2 guys miss. Touchdown! The end zone picked off, and it's picked off. Pick 6, Jeffers.
Schlager able to escape.
And then picked off. Back-to-back turnovers and Waters running the other way. Sideline.
Touchdown.
Pick 6. 70 yards. Marquise Waters. Finds Tharp again, and he's on for his first collegiate touchdown.
The deep ball down the middle, and it's caught. Touchdown, Texas Tech. Miles, 9 yards for the score. 30. Intercepted.
Smith to throw
Wide
again. Has a man downfield, and Texas Tech finds the end zone. It's McLean Manning. To the left side, to the 5. Touchdown, Red Raiders. Smith buying a little time, throwing to the back of the end zone. Caught. Touchdown.
At 38, 3 seconds to go, 62-yard try. Garibay has his long enough. It is good. It is good. It is good. Jonathan Garibay has won the game with a 2-yard field goal. Oh my God! Can you believe that? Woo!
All right, spring practice started today for the football program. Officially started fire. Some content, some photos, videos, all that kind of stuff out from practice today. Got a preview up on the web at textech.com. There's year 2 under McGuire is the headline there. Do want to get to just a really interesting quote, media availability afterwards. McGuire's very bullish on this year's team already, which I would expect him to be. He said this year's team would beat last year's team by 2 touchdowns. So
Really?
okay. The other thing, obviously, I think we've talked about it, but the game will not be at Jones AT&T Stadium this year. It will be at Lowry Field here in Lubbock. So it'll still be here locally, but it will not be at the Jones with the construction going on. Did want to get to a tweet that came out about names, new numbers. The new numbers thing, I'm gonna let you guys go through that on your own, to let you kind of figure out, who you need to remember, where they're going to be, all that kind of stuff. But the newcomers. So starting with some of these transfers, Quincy Ledette Jr. is the defensive tackle from Louisiana. He's going to be wearing number 5. Steve Linton, the linebacker transfer from Syracuse, will wear number 7. CJ Baskerville, the defensive back from San Diego State, will wear 9. Dre McCray will wear 10. He's the receiver. Rusty Stats, the offensive lineman from Western Kentucky, will wear 53. And then the freshmen that are here on campus already, got Jake Strong, quarterback, Dylan Spencer, Anquan Willis, Chapman Lewis, Brendan Jordan Sanford, Mikkel Dingle, Jaden Cofield, Caden Carr, Daniel Sill, Aiden Meek, Graylin Rigsby. I'm trying to read the first names are a lot graphic, but if you go to the Texas Tech football account, it's on there from 11 a.m. on the 21st. But like I said, they're already coming out from the account, the team from practice today. You've got some photos. You've got a video from Kenny Perry introducing running backs and taking us through a ladder drill. Up there, and like I said, a season preview also linked there to the website.
Are you going to be able to make it to the spring game this year?
I should. That's in like a month, right? It's like on the 23rd. That number's taking my head for some reason. Yeah, I think so.
22nd, whatever that Saturday is.
Yeah, we've been slowly kind of reintroducing ourselves to the public after the baby was born. But yeah, I mean, we've been able to go out. We're able to handle, baby duties with only one of us on hand for a stretch of time. Whether it's me to feed her, obviously I can change a diaper and keep her clothed and clean. If Samantha's got her, that's even better because she's the source, right? So yeah, with everything else going, the start of spring practice kind of snuck up on me. It was kind of today. I was like year 2, like starts now. I was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, oh, football practice starts today. I just not been keeping up with it, with the baseball, with the basketball stuff. So yeah, spring practices ending with the spring game on the 22nd. So a month from the 22nd, April 22nd, Lowry Field. I think that the thing that we were talking about was, or that I was initially excited about, was that projected depth chart, or just the guys that you can expect to contribute, whether or not they're starters or depth pieces, but that you're going to be such an old team this year. And I think that's, you're setting yourself up to be and immediately in the new Big 12 moving forward, but especially this upcoming year, that you've got a lot of experience, a lot of years, a lot of starts that will be contributing day one for this team. And I think that's just, like I said, it's something you can definitely continue to build off of from last year. You've got just that depth and that age.
Yeah, I mean, completely forget what I said about how exciting it is to watch a young baseball team. I'm ready to watch an old football team.
It's exciting in a different way because baseball,
Yeah,
I think
it's different. It's different.
way, like, yeah, you young baseball, there are some things that you have to you have to make adjustments to really quickly, and they have to make the jump, but then you have to kind of figure out how they can play together. Because there's not as much of a requirement or a need for like the like you have to catch up to game speed or condition as much in baseball as you do with football. Like if you put a bunch of early high school graduates on the field versus a bunch of fifth years, they will get absolutely demolished in terms of like that kind of gap with football players versus baseball. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of smarts and expertise there on a base. And the more older senior team will be a little more polished. But I think that transition is quite a bit different for baseball. It's okay to be excited and be watching a young team grow up and come together. Watching a young football team can be really detrimental to your health.
It can.
Let me see if I can find it real quick. Okay, here it is. Real quick, there's the projected. It's not even there's projected. There's of what's coming back, right? So your quarterback room will be obviously led by Tyler Shuck and Baron Morton. Shuck is a senior, Morton's a redshirt sophomore, so that means he'll be in his third. Your running back, Brooks Cameron Valdez. Valdez is a sophomore, got a lot of play last year. Your receivers, your receiving group, Jerron Bradley's a sophomore. Then you got Loic Fungi, senior, Miles Price is senior, Nehemiah Martinez. With guys, AJ Sparkman is a senior, Dre McCray is a senior, Xavier White's a super senior. Your tight ends, Baylor Cup, Mason Tharp, both juniors. Your offensive line, Rusty Stats, projected to take over that from Dennis Wilburn from last year. Stats is a senior, Wilburn's a super senior. Guard will probably be Wilburn, like I said, is a senior. If not, he's backed up by Peterson, Landon Peterson. He's a senior. Your other guard in Kentucky last year, Cole Spencer, he's a super senior. Tackle is a senior. Monroe Mills, left tackle, is a junior. So like you could look across the line and your youngest player could be Monroe Mills, who was probably your best offensive lineman last year as a junior. You could have two seniors, two super seniors of line. And if you do that, like you're running people over. Defensively, your defensive line, you've got Hutchings and Bradford are both. Cole's a super senior, Ledette's a senior, Steve Linton that's coming in as a senior. Then you've got Joseph as only a sophomore, but has a ton of experience already. Linebackers, Josiah Pierre, Jacob, Bryce Ramirez. Hopefully he'll be able to get back in time. And Tyreek Matthews, the youngest of that group, is Jacob Rodriguez. Pierre Ramirez are both seniors. Tyreek Matthews is a super senior. You've got Isaac Smith and Robert Wooten. Smith is a sophomore, but he was getting a lot of play there at the end of the season, doing really well, especially in that Oklahoma game. Defense, your star will probably be CJ Baskerville, that transferred from San Diego State. He's a junior, not being backed up by Jordan. Corners, you got Malik Dunlap, super senior. Rashad Williams is super senior. In your safeties, Dadrian Taylor Dimerson is a super senior. Tyler Owens is a super senior. And if not those guys, then it's going to be highly recruited guys that were either coming in now or that were here last year. So have pieces behind your super seniors. You've got guys that are expected to contribute along their career. So really, really old team. Which to me sets up really well. You'd hope that like you're able to get some depth pieces built up behind that, because with that many seniors I just listed off, if they all leave, you're going to be nice. But certainly, if everybody's staying healthy, that's the kind of group you're looking at with that many seniors, man. And you could really be an old and experienced team that can really build off last year. Do you have anything else with football, Michael?
9 wins.
9 wins. All right, I love it.
I'm not there yet.
Oh, it's early. I haven't seen any snaps of spring practice yet. I haven't watched any of our guys play each other yet. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I've got to really break down the film before I can fully commit to a record.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. All right, let's wrap this up with what do we learn?
What did we learn, Palmer?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
All right. We let's start with the Little League update. I promised everybody that at the beginning. You'll remember my son Grayson. I've been his Little League coach for 4 years now, and I decided to get back into umpiring. So, thankless job. Season started last night. I had 2 games last night, and I am. No, not yet. But I'm proud to tell you, Michael. I had 2 pretty clean games. The first game, now granted, I did call a couple of games last year, so I wasn't like completely coming in cold. But last year was the first time. But I got into the game last night. My first game, I was behind the plate. Now I'm calling the division. Excuse me, that Grayson would have been in. So this is the first year of kid pitch, and these pitchers they have no idea what they're doing. So it's not like any balks or anything weird like that. You just got to call it like a big strike zone, and you just got to get the batters swinging the bat. But we had a call that the guy I called with last night, he's the umpire coordinator. He's been doing this for 20 years or whatever. He's the big guy in charge for this league. I was calling out call a game before he could schedule me with other umpires. We had a batter interference that I called correctly. I was like, man, like when it happened, like I immediately called time. I was like, hey, the runner goes back to first, the batter is out. He came up to me in the half, and he's like, I have not seen that happen in the 10 years I've been out here doing this. I was like, well,
you handle it like a pro.
Yeah, like my first game back, and we get a situation that, of course, was super rare and random. As 8-year-olds tend to be with baseball, it's completely random. You have no idea what's going to happen. The ball is going to be going not where you expect it to be. So what had happened, like the batter, it was a wild pitch. So that, of course, ball gets past the batter. He steps out of the box, right, and gets out of the way. Then from third, he scores. Then they throw the ball. Like they're late throwing the ball back to the catcher. So sorry. The pitch comes in, the catcher throws the ball out and it's missed. Run comes in to score. The ball comes back in behind the runner for whatever reason. Doesn't hit the catcher first. It just goes right to the batter. I don't think the batter even knew where the ball was, and it goes off of his bat. So he's just kind of like hanging his bat down. And just randomly the ball hits the bat. And it's like, hold on, that's time. So the runner that was trying to go from first to second, like, no, he's got to go back. Unfortunately, this happened on the first pitch of this batter's at bat, so he was called out, having seen one pitch. And he like obviously like it wasn't intentional, but you have to impose like a penalty, right? Like if you're gonna call that kind of. But anyways, I was probably get that one right. The next game we called, I was in the field. I was the base umpire, and 2 teams that couldn't find a pitcher-catcher combination that could catch the pitch. And it was a walk, and like the next batter up, the catcher would miss the pitch, and the batter would go from first to second. Next pitch, batter goes from second to third. Next pitch, that runner comes home to score. So like I'm just kind of following the runner out. I'd follow the runner out and back to first. I did a lot of walk. And then I had a couple of really long calls where there was a runner, like, if there's a runner on second and third, with there being a 2 umpire system, the second, I was in the second game, I'm basically out in shallow left field. That always happens. You get out there and the play's going to be at first. So like I'm calling a bang play. No, you have to call from more, like you get as close as you can, which isn't very far because you don't want to be in the middle of everything. I had 2 bang at first. I called from behind shortstop. But to my credit, because of the score or whatever, I don't know. There weren't any groans when I called them out. They're like, okay, because it happened in the first base dugout. They didn't have complaints on those calls. Like, well, I'll take that as I got it right. So I'm back in Little League. I'm not coaching. Grayson's not playing. I'm on Thursday. 2 more next Monday, and then we'll get it out. I can't confirm it, Michael. Yeah, stadium, the ballpark last night. That player's dad that I coached with a couple of years ago that quit in the middle of the tournament, I think he was walking out ahead of us because he kept looking back, but I couldn't or not. And I didn't see his son with him. I saw a daughter with him and a mom, but the daughter wasn't playing. Like she playing last night. I was like, well, he's got to be around here somewhere because this guy wouldn't be out here without a baseball player. It looks like this guy was like, okay, which team he's on. But yeah, man, back getting paid for it this time instead of them. And I the asshole that ejects dads that are 2 kids in Little League. So
Well, you don't have to go to practice.
No, I don't have to go to practice. I'm not going to do it. Games out there 6 days a week. I'm not doing that to Samantha. She was about to kill me last night. Game. Boys were just giving her up a wall. She's like, my main focus right now is making sure that this baby girl stays alive, and these boys are trying to or each other or whatever. She's like, you're distracting me from keeping the baby. Fine. I'm excited about it, man. Cause like baseball, and I'm be involved in it as best I can. I want to be good at what I do. I spent quite a few hours studying and preparing for this and trying to be ready to go. And I felt like the first games went well. I probably won't have a Little League update every time we record because I don't think what the umpires are doing. If they're funny stories to share, sure, but
could we
just
could
I guess
we
when you
call
share
it,
that,
could we call it behind the plate?
Sure, behind the plate.
Yeah, new segment.
Because the way that we schedule, like it'll be 2 games all. If I'm doing it with a partner that has some experience, I will do a game behind the plate and I'll do a game in the field. So yeah. Okay. We've gone long enough on Little League because I'm sure everybody cares about this. Let's wrap this up with the Big 12 tournament food items. If you haven't seen it yet, Gambling Gauchos of foods that were announced, rolled out for the Big 12. City. Some of them sound better than others. I'll go through the list really quickly and tell you the pool that we're drafting from. Which is vanilla ice cream with Dr. Pepper float. The Cyclones. It's a sandwich on a Kaiser bun, breaded pork tenderloin, sliced onions, sweet and spicy pickles. Jayhawks mac and cheese, pasta and creamy white cheese, smoked pulled pork, Levi's signature barbecue sauce. I don't know what that is, and crispy fried onions. I did see a picture of this, and this a lot of people struggling here. The K-State's Wabash Cannon Dog, bacon wrapped jumbo hot dog topped with Wildcat purple relish. And I think it was a relish that threw everybody in this picture. Stormin from Norman, Oklahoma, fried topped with ground beef, shredded lettuce, chopped tomato, beans, onions, and chili. Pistu fried corns, elote style bacon fried corn topped with crushed Doritos. TCU spicy sauce, chopped house smoked brisket pico de gallo topped with horned frog purple sour cream. Longhorn quesadilla triple chicken with burnt orange salsa rojo sauce. Tex Mask Rider burger, all beef patty, cheddar, fried onion ring, sweet pickled jalapenos, Red. Not to be a homer here, but Michael, that sounds pretty damn good.
I agree.
I agree. West Virginia Mountaineer roll, sliced pepperoni, mozzarella cheese, and also not too bad there with a pepperoni roll. Michael, you're gonna roll for us, right? You can determine which.
Yeah, I
can take turns.
We're
gonna have like a miniature snake draft. Like, go first. I go first. You go second, and then I go twice, or alternate. I say we alternate.
I say we alternate too. Okay.
All right, let's do this then.
All right, you call it in the air. Here we go. You didn't call it.
I didn't see it. So.
Oh, sorry.
Tails.
Let me get in front of the screen. Okay, no, I'm gonna do it. Again. Because we gotta get this out. Oh, that's not a very. Anyway, I haven't looked. What do you want to pick?
Heads.
Heads it is.
Yes.
Congratulations.
23 personnel, Big 12. I'm taking Tex Master Rider Burger.
Oh man. Okay. Diving right in. It says Red Raiders. Barbecue sauce. Do you think that means Raider Red?
The regular meats sauce. That was my expectation of it, but like that's a good sounding barbecue burger. Fried onion ring, pickled jalapenos, and a barbecue. Oh, give me some of that.
Okay, I am going with the Jayhawks mac and cheese, which is basically, it's just mac and cheese with pulled pork on it and crispy fried onions. It's delicious. That's my number one pick.
So with my second pick, I'm looking at probably like rounding out a meal. TCU's late. So it's tater tots, spicy.
That just drafts all quarterbacks. So I don't know if it's going to be a very good team. I'm just going to have like 9 tight ends.
So the reminder, the chopped brisket, pico, and a purple sour cream.
The purple sour cream is kind of that kind of ruins it for me, but I think we could make it work. There's some really good ones left.
Yeah, there are a couple good ones left.
I think I'm really torn between the Oklahomas. You know, that fry bread. I talked about fry bread. We actually ordered some from a local chef recently. Desert Rose.
Samantha's parents. Samantha's parents will occasionally do, like, for our Sunday dinners, we'll do like a Navajo tacos, which is just a taco bar on fried bread instead of tortillas or taco shells. So
yeah, so that's pretty much where I'm at. And so I'm thinking, if I wanted to get crafty and kind of go the route that you did, I could put a little of my mac and cheese on some of this fry bread. So I'm going with the Stormin' from Norman, Oklahoma taco. That's the fry bread with ground beef, shredded lettuce, chopped tomato, beans, onion, and chili.
Okay, well, you tipped your hand, so I'm going to take Pistol Pete's Oklahoma State's fried corn for my third pick there. A Elote style bacon fried corn topped with hell yeah, brother.
I think next for me, we're heading up to Ames. We're gonna go with the
solid pick.
The Cyclones tenderloin, the Kaiser bun, breaded pork tenderloin, sweet and spicy pickles. I think the pickles are right.
All right. What we have left is the Baylor float, the Longhorn quesadilla, and the Mountaineer roll. Got a couple I want to avoid. So let's see, what do I have left? There's that one. Let me.
I've been trying to mute those. I'm struggling over here. I've had a rough couple weeks, sinus wise.
shoot, though. Okay, no, it's fine. Let me go ahead and take the Mountaineer roll. Sliced pepperoni, mozzarella
really?
cheese. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So out of what's left,
Baylor float, Longhorn quesadilla, and the Wabash.
okay, Longhorn quesadilla for sure. That's what I'm taking.
Okay. All right. See, if that one fell to me, but I'm taking the Baylor float for my last pick
Oh no.
because I absolutely want to know Wabash Cannon Dog.
I don't either. And you saw photos of it. So not only was the Wildcat purple relish look like a poor man's caviar, but the dog itself is bacon wrapped, and there wasn't a whole lot of texture to it. So
It was a poor picture representation of it, but it did not look good.
No, and it was the word I could come up with to most family friendly disguise this or describe this as phallic. So yeah, not a very appealing looking thing, but now I'm stuck with it. So now I've got it on my team.
All right.
Ugh.
Recap. Michael's team is the Cyclone tenderloin. It's the breaded pork tenderloin, sliced onion, sweet and spicy pickles. Jay, Wabash Cannon Dog, and the Stormin' from Norman, Oklahoma taco. Floats ice cream, Dr. Pepper float, the pistol corn, elote style corn, topped with crushed Doritos, TCU loaded tots, Tex Masked Rider burger, and the West Virginia Mountaineer roll.
I also have the quesadilla, and I wonder what bacon fried corn is.
I would assume it's like off the cob, fried in bacon grease.
Okay, that would make too much sense.
But I don't know. I'm just going off the direction. The description there.
We should draft more food. That was fun.
That was good. Let us know which team you think would win head to head in a plate you would want, or if you would have chosen differently. Like if you were all about that steak and cheese quesadilla. It's not bad. I don't know. I kind of feel like down to the Mountaineer roll and the quesadilla was essentially the same kind. It was a meat and melted cheese.
Yeah. And
anyways,
yours is way
fun,
more
right?
well-rounded. You have some sides, sort of, with a dessert.
Appetizer, got a burger, got sides and dessert.
Mine's just like a bunch of main dishes.
You've got 4 main dishes and a side. That's fine.
I'd go to the hospital if I ate mine.
Well, I think not. At least it's not like it's any better or less fried options. I mean, burger's not the best for you. Got 2 items of mine and pepperoni and mozzarella. I mean, anyways, that was fun, man.
Yeah, it's good to see you. It's good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I was going to say that. It's good to be back with you all. Thanks for hanging with. We moving forward now, unless something happens with the baby. I told umpire schedule no Tuesdays for me. I got prior engagements. Getting back on your podcast with all of you guys. I had a great time tonight talking baseball, basketball, football. Hopefully, we'll have a new head coach for the basketball team. Continue their success in the NIT, football, spring practice. For Michael, I'm Spencer. We'll catch you guys next time.
Thank 23 Personnel Podcast. Help us out by subscribing, rating the show, and leaving a review. Follow us on Twitter at 23 Personnel, Spencer at PuntSuck, and Michael at Michael_LBK. Be sure to catch the next episode. And until then, guns up and let the tortillas fly.
All right, anybody hanging out with us on the stream, thanks for hanging out with us. We'll see you guys around. We'll be back Tuesday nights, 9, probably closer to 9:30, But we'll catch you guys in Discord.